All right, there, fam. This is my graph I've been promising you guys about, um, and we're gonna excuse my English. Sometimes I catch myself, sometimes I don't. But this is, about numbers. So just bear with me. Like I said, everything I do is live, so I'll try to use proper English as I can. So, folks, don't hate. Just kind of pay attention to me. Like I said, right up here. It's and we'll break it down a little bit, so we can really understand, so we can understand it and see it. I hope everyone can see it. This is the best I could do. Like I said, I don't live on a huge budget, but I do live, folks, so I can be able to do me, do some of the things I want, look after my kids, take time out for music. And actually, I've completed everything on my bucket list. God blessed me to be able to do that. So with that, I want to be able to bless some other people, and I'm trying to get you guys to understand that work can't be where you live and die. Money can be the pursuit of where you live or die. This is down here. I'm gonna see if I can, pull this up so we can see it. This is when this graph shows when I made 42,000 a year, and now when I make 20,000. It even goes into someone making kind of disability pay or like really, really minimum of 7,600. It goes into all the different expenses you have during the month. And if I expand this open again, it really goes into everything. Taxes, medical, internet and phone, cell phone, we'll get into those. But what it comes down to, even breaks it down to when I made 42,000, my weekly pay about 750. You take home, then you got 3,500 a month. We'll break it down over here, where I was making. Now I have about $1,600 I get paid a month, and over here for a person on disability, 650. The main thing about this graph is, and I'll show you how it's kind of neat because the numbers change and everything else. It's set up to be, an expense graph, and I want to do an app about it, so I'm kind of looking for input on it. But the main thing about it is when I made 42 grand, at the end of the month, it shows all my expenses. Open it up again for you real quick. These are all the expenses, when I made 42,000, all the way down to here, kind of at the end of the year, that earned income credit. My take home at the end of the month, $160. So this is what I kind of want to get to folks, and when folks, I look at people, I see people making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, even $100,000, and everybody's complaining to be broke. Everybody's talking about being broke. I'm like, how is everybody broke? Obviously, because for some reason, every pay raise you get is just an expense raise. And it keeps you like that. Now, let me tell you something. Here it is at $20,000. Now, all the way down to my same expenses. Now, at the end of that $20,000 at the end of the month, I end up with $300. It's like, wow, how does that work out? That's what we're going to show. That's what we're going to show, fam. You have to know your numbers. You got to know what you're working for. You got to know what your numbers are, because they say the more you make, the more they take. This graph is there to show you. And it even goes over here. If you can follow me, yeah, there you go. When 42,000, $3,500 a month. Here I am here at $1,600 a month, and on down here, the folks, that's just, scraping by. But now we go all the way down to our expenses, and boom, you see this one? It goes all the way back up there. Now, I'm going to explain that to you. Now, my numbers aren't, exact. I just want to get a basic idea to you, for you to get a basic understanding of how you're chasing money. Because I'll show it to you right here. Because the graph changes. Now, it goes up there at 42,000. Now, what happens when I make $44,000 a year? Wow, it went down. Okay? Up here, over here, 22, and I can put different numbers in. It's set up to put different numbers in, but at 22,000, it went up a little bit. So you want to know where your maximums are, and I'm going to show you this is how it works over here. These are all your expenses. And it basically works out, there's another graph here in the background. There's always something working in the background with lots of different formulas and things like that. But the way it works out is as your income changes, and as I said, as we get pay raises, we also get expense raises. So it goes into things like taxes, federal taxes. Now that's a big one, folks. 22,000, you're paying $25 in federal taxes. Let's go down to 20,000. You're paying $9 in federal taxes. All right? Because the basic, what do you call it? I'll think of the word for it in a minute. Because, like I said, this is all live. So sometimes words don't come to my brain as fast. But our basic write-off is around 18, 19, 20,000. I don't have the exact number in front of me. I can actually go down here and look for it. So just bear with me and let's see. On our federal taxes, because these are our federal tax scales. This is, at $19,000, you don't pay. So that's the standard deduction. That was the word, that standard deduction. 20,000, we're making $9.62 a year. Based on a 52-month year. So up to $19,000 is our standard deduction, folks. So the further we get over that $20,000, right here we get to use that cushion for our federal taxes. Now, as we get over it, the further we get over it until we break a certain threshold, we're paying more and more federal taxes. This is what I tell you. And this is the kind of the group of people that, they say that middle class that supports the whole country, But don't hate on those, don't hate on these people because their income, their, taxes, things like that, the government gives everybody that basic 20,000. So don't hate on the folks that work just as hard as everyone else. But just don't have that ability and don't have that ability and haven't been blessed with those jobs and that money that other people make. But these folks work just as hard. Our folks on disability want to, So, but we'll continue going on. But that's where I want to show you. The further you get above that 20,000, you pay those federal taxes until you actually break through a threshold of about maybe 50,000, and then it starts evening out. Now I'll show you it starts evening out, and then you start making a little bit more every month. But still, look at it. And these expenses are set up. I'll continue going down. You have your payroll expenses, your savings. Let's blow this up a little bit. There you go. You with me? I hope I hope it records. All right, just follow along now. If those really want to be concerned about your money and understand your money, follow along with me because I'm showing you. You want to know why you're broke every month? I'm showing you why you're broke every month. All right, if you want to get into it, the more you make, when I made $40,000, I was paying $850 a month rent. Now I make 20, I pay around $650. You can go ahead and put your own numbers in here and see how they compare. And that's what I really want to do, get different numbers. Because this is Bloomsburg. Living on the $10, we can do that here. Living on $40,000, we can do that here. Other places in the city, we can't do that. So these numbers kind of change. But here in Bloomsburg, we can do that. Our utilities, again, someone that's on, someone that's making less, maybe on LIHEAP, things like that, so they're on a controlled budget. At this point, I kind of live on these expenses. I live on these expenses, but at this point, I've gotten control of my budget that I can send out this budget, or I can budget myself. I have some other responsibilities now that I've gotten control and that I'm taking care of now. That I finally get caught up with these numbers, but that's on my own personal side. Let me keep going down. Your phone, your internet and phone, you pay a little bit more when you're working. Home insurance, student loans, credit card bills. your automobile will go, now I own my own car, and, I don't need a big, I don't need a big car payment every month. I don't need to drive every day, be reliable every day to get back and forth to work, especially now that I'm going to be making that $45,000, $50,000. You got to be reliable. So you're going to pay a little bit more. Same thing with that full coverage insurance. Gas and maintenance. I do my own, changes, oil changes, things like that. So I save that money now. We're going down to food. Big difference. Big difference between food with someone that might be getting help. I'm off of it. I don't get any assistance now. So, food is on me. But, understand, this is kind of based on when I had 2 kids, things like that. But you go into anyone, with a single parent's house with 2 kids, you see their refrigerator is full. That's their time. That's the shooter. I'm not going to get into that. But don't hate on these people again, because that's not where the government's putting your money at. Talk to the people that are way above this. That's where your money's going at. So please don't hate. Snacks for going to work, entertainment, your cigarette, alcohol. Your cigarettes don't too much change. Don't really how much matter. I don't smoke, whatever else, but your cigarettes don't. This is another thing. Your kid's school. The further above that 40,000 I got, the more I had to pay in lunch, school things, whatever else. If you're making that and above, you say $30 a month for, that's, student meals cost more than that. So, but understand, the more you make, the more you're required to pay. Vacation, clothes, and shoes. All right? So then we'll get all the way down. So I'll close that up. We'll get all the way down. So these are just your basic cost. All right? Now I'm going to show you how this spreadsheet works. And one of the main reasons why this is different than this. Okay? It's called when the government kind of wants everyone to make around $25,000. That's the kind of above that poverty line. They'll get you to that 20,000 without you paying any taxes, whatever else. Because, then you're getting above that poverty. Anything, you get above that, they give you, a little bit more money. Or actually, no, folks, they give you a little bit less. And what I'm saying is this earned income credit number. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. Between that $16,000, let's go down here, and we'll go down here on this graph. I hope I'm being clear and you're following me, because we're going to get into earned income credit. And earned income credit gives you a big difference at the end of the year. When you have all those expenses and things like that. Wow, 42,000, you get $2 in earned income. 50,000, you get $2 in earned income credit. Let's drop this number back down here so we can kind of put a number on the graph. Put this number back down to 40,000. So we can kind of have a number on the graph, okay? Now we're back at 188, okay? You see how this works? These numbers up here, this pay up here goes down here to the, my graph here. And this graph is actual earned income credit for a person, head of the household with 2 people. So this is an accurate graph of your earned income credit. And what I've already explained to you in the previous video is that if you're making up to, that's $14,000, the government gives you 45% on that. 45% on that. So if you're making up to $14,000 or so, if you're making up to that money, understand you're making a lot more than you think you are. As long as you understand how it works and how to control your expenses. Now, when you get above that, the government starts giving you a little bit less, a little bit less. All the way your optimal is right around that, 20,000. Or actually, no, it would be right around the 14,000, because that's when they start giving you less and less. And then it starts to show. Now, over here, it shows how much you actually really make more than the previous tier. So if you go to 13,000, you get a pay raise to 14,000. You made $1,450 more because of what the government gave you in earned income credit. Now, let me show you something. When you go to get a raise from $14,000 to $15,000, you've only made $11,000 more. Now, someone can check my numbers and help me out on this, but this is, understand this theory. All right? Now, you get less earned income credit, that drops quite a bit. So you're making actually less. Now, right around $16,000 to $19,000, you're kind of steady. You get another $1,000 raise, you make $1,000. Now, look at what happens when you get up to around $19,000, $20,000. You make $19,000, go to $20,000, you only actually make $790 more because you're paying more in taxes. Now, look at your federal taxes kicking in. And you're also getting less in earned income credit. So say you're making $9.13 an hour and everybody keep talking about them pay raises. They want to be, you make $9.13 an hour and say you want to go to $9.62. Look at what happens. What happens is you're really not making as much as you think you're making. So what I'm trying to tell you is, and this goes all the way up to this anomaly, anomaly to when you're up here and you start to break through this budget, this bubble, because earned income credit only goes up to $48,000. All right, but that's the main thing I want to show you, and then you start actually earning a little bit more for every dollar you make. So that's what, and I mean, that's basically what I want to show you. Let's say, where were we at, where we go from 19 to 20,000. Let's go up here. And we're at 20,000 now. Let's see what happens when we go to 19,000. $336. You made kind of a $6 difference as opposed to 18,000. You know, so we'll do it the other way. 18 to 19,000, you make a little bit less. 20,000, oh, don't do that. 20,000, $6 difference. And that's because when your expenses also change, because if we'll take a look, our expenses here also change. You know, so from 19 to 20,000, from that 916 to 960, is that what it is? You're really not making that much of a difference in pay. So what I'm trying to explain to you is, if you're not chasing money, if you're not chasing a dollar, and you tell your boss, hey, give me that extra time off. Pursue something for you, for yourself, so that you can break through that bubble. Because you don't even want to be here. Fam, you don't even want to be here, for real. Everybody's trying to get that money. You really don't. I mean, you have a little bit better, you know, rent house. No, my house is just as nice when I'm working in it and I repair it and I do what I want to do with it. You know, so until you can get up to that 50, 60, 70, and still keep your expenses, you know, down here. Find time for you. Find time for your family. Find time for your kids. Understand that it's not all about money. This is another little part of it. And for you to understand, when I go to work, and when those folks going to work kind of making $10 an hour, think about it. And I joke with my friends about this. This is the last part of it. I joke with my friends about this. When, you know, you go to work, pay your cell phone bill, about $600 a year. Auto, real quick, these are just your expenses for going to work. And I joke with them because every time they talk about going to work, I'm like, look, you going to work and you work 2 weeks. Well, you work 2 weeks for just to go to work. If you're making $400 a week, you're doing 2 weeks just to go to work. 2 weeks just to pay your gas. So basically, you working, I can keep going. This is like 9,000. I don't know where this number came from. We'll switch that back out to that. Well, I'll correct that later. I must have hit something. I'll correct that later. But you're basically working $7,000 a year just to go to work. So understand your number. That 20, half of that's going to go to your rent. The other half you're spending just to go to work. So family, understand your numbers. Understand why you're broke. That's all this is all about. And as soon as I can get this app out to folks, so then you can put your own numbers in. You say your boss is going to give you a pay raise from that 19,000. Let's go ahead to 35. Let's see. 1,000. We'll break this down. Okay, cool. Yeah, he gonna give you that pay raise, and this is what, and I've done it, folks. I've done it. The boss says, I did something so well on my spreadsheets. He says, we give you the highest pay raise in the spot, Ed. I said, nope, because you want me to do management work, you want me to do all this extra stressful work, and that's cutting into other things in my life. You know, that's not productive in what to my enjoyment. So that enjoyment does not come from money, folks. It does not come from money. You know, go to poor countries, they'll show you it does not come from money. You know, so when that boss tells you he wants to add your extra stress, he wants to add on extra responsibility so he can give you some extra work. And you can see, you know, unless you're taking that money and putting it away and you got a savings raise, you can see that he's really just, you know, getting you further away from that cushion of that $20,000 that you're not paying taxes on, and giving you a lot less earned income credit and a lot more responsibilities. So just understand your numbers, fam. That's all I want to get out there to the world. Take care.